Hello, and welcome back to Library-ish. I'm Tracy.
And I'm January. And today we're diving into one of our favorite annual library holidays that, isn't really a holiday.
That's right. It's almost public domain day. Every January 1st, a whole batch of books, films, music, and other media become free for anyone to share, remix, adapt, or enjoy.
And this year, the clock is rolling over to works published in 1930. That means mysteries, classics, adventure stories, jazz standards, and honestly, some big surprises.
So stick around as we explore what's entering the public domain in 2026 and what you can do with it. Let's go.
Public Domain Day.
Yes.
hmm
All right. So I think we should start with a little overview about what is copyright. I'm going to give you kind of a
Yeah.
brief primer in the whole process. Copyright protects creators.
Uh-huh.
Ideally, and it goes all the way back to really the Gutenberg press,
hmm
from the time that works were being mass produced. So you could see this sort of as a byproduct of mass production. And once things became widely shareable,
hmm
publications became widely stealable. So people would be able to take a work that someone else published it, and if they had access to a press, I
hmm
mean, you think about the Gutenberg press, and we think about the fact that published works and access to publications has changed our world so much.
hmm
We don't realize the scope.
hmm
It also changed the nature of law because with the advent of the Gutenberg press, people were able to publish things en masse and distribute them widely,
hmm
but also people were able to steal those publications, put their own name on it, and distribute it and financially benefit themselves
hmm
from the works of other people. So that's why we have the earliest copyrights coming down in the 1700s. Before the 1700s, there were no formal copyright agreements. And it was very common for people to copy other people's work. But remember, that was also a very difficult process
hmm
because you're doing everything by hand, or at least in the West. Yes, they had printing presses in the East already.
hmm
China had a press long before we did
Right.
in the West. But eventually, mass production started in the 15th century.
hmm
And that's when printers started stealing other people's work, where you would have the authorized press um, printing the works and distributing them. And you would have a press in another town or another region go, well, we want to sell that.
That's fair.
And
Yeah.
so they would
hmm
steal the work, print it in their own local press,
I
and they
like
would
money.
distribute it there. Right.
hmm
So the first was the Statute of Anne, and that was the first law granting authors rights. And it shifted the focus of rights from the printers and the owners of the press to the actual writers and artists.
hmm
And that was a law in the UK in 1710.
Ooh.
So that's the very first
Right.
recognizable copyright law in the way we have copyright today. Then the US Constitution gave Congress the power to promote arts by securing authors' rights in 1789.
Hmm.
Closely after that, the copyright law of 1790 was put into place, and that protected books, maps, and charts. It was a 14-year term, and it was renewable for
hmm
another 14 years. So
Ooh.
modernization occurred over the years. There was a law in 1831 that extended that 1790 Copyright Act from 14 years to 28 and added music. In 1870, the Library of Congress became the adjudicator and the police force that enforced these copyright laws. And in 1909, the term was changed again, and a 28-year renewal was added. And because of technology, sound recordings were added, and motion pictures also got added then in
Yeah.
1909.
Yeah, we're moving on forward.
Exactly. So the real copyright laws that look exactly like what we have today were first enacted in 1976, excuse me. So that the Copyright Act of 1976, and it protected unpublished works as well.
Mm-hmm.
So anything from creation is protected, and it's for life of the artist plus 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
That also was a period where fair use was introduced. In 1989, the US joined the Berne Convention, which removed notice and registration requirements. So you did not have to, it used to be you would have to send your copyrighted material, so like a recording of your music or a manuscript, to yourself in the mail as an unofficial copyright, and that postmark would be your date.
Oh, that's interesting.
In 1989, that was removed as a necessity to prove copyright ownership. Then the thing that sort of really impacted public domain occurred, and that was in 1998. It was the Sonny Bono Act. It is important because it was also called the Mickey Mouse Protection Act, but that was more of a joke. That was more of a derisive comment than anything. But what it did was it was championed by Sonny Bono, who was the ex-husband of the entertainer Cher, and who was a songwriter, a very prolific and successful songwriter, and became a congressman. It extended the copyright term from 50 years, life plus 50, to life plus 70 for individuals. And then corporate works, which were included in that life plus 50, were extended to life plus 95. So the 18th century were some of the first copyright laws that were in existence. Now, what were you going to say?
Plagiarism.
I know, right?
Plagiarism. Oh, gosh.
Right?
Oh, no, I was going to talk about the inspiration factor. How,
yes,
a lot of people get inspired by other people's work, and that's why we've got a lot of retellings nowadays for classic, like the Grimm's fairy tales often get retold. There's a lot of books that, when you're reading it and it's like, this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. This is a retelling of Cinderella.
Well, I mean, when you think about particularly literature, but even music, there are only 86 keys on a piano. There's a finite, even though it's a very broad range, there's a finite number of compositions that can be created. There are only 7 stories that are ever told. And they're just reworked in different ways. The thing about copyright is it is limited. So it really only does cover certain things. The definition of copyright is it's an aspect of the law that grants the person or the entity who holds the copyright to a work exclusive rights to that work for a limited amount of time, subject to certain limitations. It is illegal for anyone to infringe upon those exclusive rights without obtaining permission from the copyright owner, meaning that someone cannot take a book written by Nora Roberts, republish it with a different cover, put their name on it, and financially benefit. Now, where some of this gets twisted is we often with copyright think of the owner being the artist. It is not necessarily. Very often the owner is the corporation. Publisher. Well, any corporation. It is the corporation through which owns that person's work. So this is not just, ownership like this is not just in artistic works, but it's also like science and different things. If Dow Chemical, if a scientist working for Dow Chemical creates a process, Dow owns the process, not the creator. It's the same with artistic works. Whoever owns Paramount owns the works created by the producers and the directors and the artists that create the media that is distributed by Paramount.
That's so
The artists don't own that.
Yeah.
Same with musicians. If Warner Brothers releases a record album by someone, Warner Brothers owns the intellectual rights to all those pieces of music, not the artist, because the artist has created them under the umbrella of being an employee of Warner Brothers. So copyright is very complex in our modern age.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's actual lawyers that just specifically study copyright law. I mean, that's their whole gig is copyright law.
And that's all they adjudicate. So some of the main categories of protected works by the U.S. Copyright Office: literary works, musical works, dramatic works, pantomimes and choreographic works, pictorial, graphic, and sculptural works, motion pictures and audiovisual works, sound recordings, and buildings, blueprints, architecture.
I didn't realize you could copyright a blueprint. That's interesting.
So, and there are different types of copyright licenses. So a person that holds a copyright, or an entity, a corporation that owns a copyright, can give a license to an individual or entity that would like to use that particular copyrighted piece in some way. So there's the reproduction right, which means you can duplicate and make copies for distribution of a particular piece of media. There's the public performance right. So that's concerts, things like that. Covers. When you see somebody doing a cover of a piece, they should have a reproductive rights license. Derivative works right, meaning creating adaptations. So if a movie is made from a book, they have licensed that book to be able to make that project. Then there are the things that are another license that's more familiar in academic circles is the Creative Commons license, which allows use or sharing of a piece of media, but only under certain specific conditions that include not selling the media, not selling tickets, not profiting.
There's so much to it.
It's a very nuanced and intricate topic.
Right.
Then finally, there's the thing we're going to talk about today, which is the public domain, which means that these particular works have been deaccessioned from being owned by the entities they were owned, whether it's an individual or a corporation or an estate. And that we'll get into a little bit, the Sonny Bono law. And those are available for the public to take and rework in any way they see fit.
And I think it's 95 years, right? 95 years from the time it's been copyrighted.
And that was the Sonny Bono law, the Sonny Bono Act. It changed the corporate works copyright term to 95 years. And it was specifically to keep classic works like Mickey Mouse, like out of the public domain for a longer period of time. Now, what this meant was that from 1998 until 2019, no works entered the public domain.
Oh, because of the big timeline. Yeah,
because
look at that.
Everything got put on pause.
Yeah.
So there was this huge gap. The public domain is extremely important. And this void occurred in the public domain.
One work can inspire another,
Exactly.
And when you put a do not do stamp on it, then, you know, people are like, okay, well, I can't do that. And I can't do that. And you guys have called dibs on all that stuff.
That's right.
So, I mean,
it really stifles creativity. So it wasn't until 2019 that items began entering the public domain. And that's why Mickey Mouse, that was published in 1928, the Steamboat Willie version of Mickey Mouse, Yeah,
that one.
the very earliest design
Mm-hmm.
did not enter the public domain until 2024
Mm-hmm.
because of Sonny Bono's intervention and his need to protect.
Ah, good for him.
Yeah.
You know who else entered the public domain around that time?
Mm.
Before that time, actually. Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And we're going to talk about all the cool things like that you didn't know were in the public domain, that you should know are in the public domain. Because, I mean, let's think about it. If you're an Etsy artist, if you are a painter, if you do fan fiction, if you're a writer that writes fan fiction, an item being in the public domain, that's extremely important to your ability to be able to be inspired by those works and to be able to use them freely in your own art.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing because we just said Winnie the Pooh is in public domain. And the first thing that people are inspired to do by this cute little dumpy bear wearing a cute little red t-shirt that shows his very generous midriff. The first thing.
He's got a belly.
He does. He's adorable. And the first thing they do is make a bloody gore horror movie called Blood and Honey with Winnie the Pooh going around slashing people up. And I'm just like, that's where we're going? That's our inspiration?
You betcha, baby. Absolutely.
It's a real movie. It's called Blood and Honey, and I think it was released in 2023, maybe. And because Winnie the Pooh, the cute little bear,
he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, you know, he's just so cute. We all grew up with him, you know. They decided to turn him into a bloodthirsty monster, and you can watch this anywhere that shows Blood and Honey.
Yeah, I'm sure it's streaming on a streaming service.
I'm sure it is. I saw that coming out, and I'm just like, well, that's what we're doing with our new freedom. It's great.
So, a quick overview of the public domain. Basically, if a work has entered public work enters the public domain 95 years after publication, the reason that's kind of a flat line is because most things are owned by corporations these days, most artistic works. So 95, that's the, now for items that are still owned by the individuals or by the estate of the individuals, it's the life of the individual plus 70 years after the publication date. Or 70 years after the death of the individual, I should say. Which means that, like, there was a controversy a few years ago about works by Edgar Rice Burroughs, and that because when do those things enter the public domain and so forth. So it's different when the estate retains the ownership. Like Dr. Seuss is another where the estate retains the ownership of the work.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Because Tracy's lovely, and she gives me all the notes for this, and I get to read up a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I'm sorry I'm kind of steamrolling through the beginning, and it's mostly me, but just that,
But no, I was looking at all the rules for this, and as I'm looking at it, because I've got kids, and it's the TV's on in the background, and it's a commercial for trying to inspire people to shop at Walmart, but it's all Grinch themed. They've got a man dressed up like the Grinch, right? And he's delivering presents and all that stuff, talking about the joys of Walmart. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, so how does copyright work with that? How are they allowed to do that? And I looked it up, and Walmart has an agreement with the Dr. Seuss Corporation. The two they got together.
They have a license,
and they made a license with love. When two companies love each other, and they get together, they make a copyright agreement so that Walmart is allowed to utilize those images of the Grinch to sell their products. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. It's a whole thing. It's a whole contracted thing.
Well, it was one of the controversies early on after the death of Dr. Seuss. One of the many controversies after the death of Dr. Seuss. But he was adamant about not using his creations commercially. That was a personal line that he refused to cross. And his estate, which is run by his spouse, his partner, has a different perspective. on that issue.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we have the Cat in the Hat movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have the Grinch movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we have that, because although Dr. Seuss himself, which of course he did work with Chuck Jones to do the Grinch movie,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not like he didn't want any commercial representation, but he didn't want to integrate marketing and sales of characters to the degree that we see today.
Oh gosh.
And so that is all
Mhm.
post-mortem.
Oh, do you remember the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the one that nowadays a lot of people assume is the Grinch movie. If you're old like me, you know that's not the Grinch movie.
No.
There's one way before that.
Yeah.
Which is the best.
Chuck Jones.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Chuck Jones.
And that was my favorite one. I love that. Whenever, because we didn't have, we couldn't go out and rent it. It had to come on the TV when I was a kid. And when it came on the TV, we were all just like, oh, it's the Grinch. Anyway, when the movie with Jim Carrey came out, you only went to the theaters to see it, and the method of the movie was, Christmas is more important than buying things. You don't need to buy things. Don't buy things. Blah 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 blah. The whole movie's point. When it came out, it was the number one most for things being sold. The number one most grossing. It had the most merchandise being sold about that movie when it came out, which is ironic because the whole point of the movie is you just being with one. I mean, all the Who's got together at the end when the Grinch took all their stuff. They got together and they held hands and they sang and they loved each other. And we're going out and buying everything that has that. And it's just the eternal irony of that movie for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Corporate America's great.
We love it. But yeah, that if you have not seen the animated Grinch film that was directed by Chuck Jones, please see it, because it is.
I think we might have a DVD here at the library. I think Durham's got one.
Oh, I'm sure.
If you got a library card, rent out the DVD.
It is an absolute classic.
It's lovely.
It's just the best. And Chuck Jones is just the best, and it's lovely.
And it's short.
I mean, there's also that.
It's not nearly as long as the other two, because there's one with Jim Carrey and then Benedict Cumber, yeah, that one. But no, yeah, it's interesting how that worked out.
Okay, so you might wonder, why do libraries even care about the public domain? Like, why are we doing this particular episode? The reason is because it alters how we can handle the materials that we have in our facility. Like, we can digitize things if necessary without any permission if we like. It allows us to record free audiobooks if we want to, like the things we do for Dial a Story. If you don't know about Dial a Story,
that's such a great service.
Absolutely. It gives us a broader range of things that we can use to provide that service. For the communities can do theater productions of works without having to secure licenses to be able to produce those works. They can just go ahead and put them up. They don't have to worry about paying for a license. It also fuels ebook services like Project Gutenberg and Enki are largely populated with ebooks that are public domain ebooks. So it gives the public access to ebooks for free, and that we can help facilitate. That you can also get directly through those websites, but you can go through us as well. And you can get those for free. We also are able to present in our programming different works without having to secure copyright or licensing. Like, if we want to screen certain movies, if they're not in the public domain, we don't have to, because we do movies at our libraries and we have to pay a service that gives a blanket permission, a blanket license for us to be able to do those movies. However, that range of what we can provide is broadened by the fact that we could choose public domain movies to show without having to pay for a license for that.
Mm-hmm.
So libraries benefit and the community benefits that way.
Mm-hmm.
It also allows us to part with local artists for public domain remix projects.
Mm-hmm.
If there's an artist in the community and they're doing something that is a derivative of a public domain work, it makes it easier for us to produce without any liability. We can bring that to the public.
Yeah. I remember doing a summer reading. We wanted to show anime. We wanted to show anime for summer reading.
Yes.
And we wanted to make candy sushi, which we're still doing at a lot of the
Yeah,
branches.
we're doing that.
Yeah. And show it was Demon Slayer. I'm a big Demon Slayer fan. I love it so much. And Noski's my guy. Anyway, so
you dressed as a Noski for one of the
I did for our
podcasts for
Halloween
the first
episode.
Halloween episode, which I think is episode 2.
Oh, that was so great. And the patron came in and said, "Are you a piggy?" And I said, "Yes, I'm a piggy." Anyway, no, we wanted to have candy sushi and show anime on there. And we went to our licensing agreement, that one company that we pay for the licensing right to show. And none of the anime we wanted to show was among the stuff there. And I remember talking to one of our coworkers up here and being like, "Where's the good anime?" You know, and we had to go to a different streaming site that actually gave blanket permission to.
Yeah, they had a special libraries license, which they have since. The company was Crunchyroll, and they had a blanket license, and they have since removed that license.
Yeah, so we can't. We can only use the one. I know, it's Le Poo.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the teens are real picky about their anime.
I mean, fair.
That's fair, you know?
Absolutely fair. For patrons, what y'all can do with public domain works, what this means to you is if you're participating in NaNoWriMo, you can use public domain works for your foundation and bounce off of that. Also, if you're, as I said earlier, writing fan fiction, you have more leeway in terms of what you can write and how close you can get to an original work. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That work is made possible by the public domain. You can publish retellings. Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Killer. Those are literally connected. You can make artwork, comics, zines. You can read things in podcasts. You can do YouTube channels that have a foundation rooted in public domain works. And you can also print your own editions. Let's say you're an illustrator. You can also choose these public domain works, create your own artwork, and self-publish them.
That's great.
There's another Etsy idea for you, or an AWZ idea for you. But so those are some of the foundational things. So I think we can move on now to what are some of the works that are already in the public domain that might surprise you?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yes.
All the Sherlock Holmes novels are now in the public domain. So
yes.
Monsieur Holmes and he's not French. Sorry.
No, that's Hercule Poirot.
Yes, that one. Who actually some of her stuff is in the public domain as well.
Yes. And coming into the public domain in this cycle too. But The Great Gatsby is actually public domain.
Yes. Which
is interesting. And we mentioned Winnie the Pooh already.
Yeah, the murder of Roger Ackroyd came into the public domain in 2022. Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises, entered in. Man, I had to read that back in high school, and I don't remember a gosh darn thing. That was just one of those books that was slogged at me as a kid. I read it to take the test, and now I'm like, I don't remember anything. That one and The Stranger by Albert Camus. Camus?
Camus.
Thank you.
He is French.
Oh, excellent. Come right back around. No, I can't remember any of those. We've talked about being forced to read and not remember any. Anyway, Steamboat Willie was copyrighted in 1928, and that as of January of 2024, that one's there.
Bambi is the book Bambi by Felix Salten. Came into the public domain in 2022, as well as Franz Kafka's The Trial. The Hardy Boys book, The Tower Treasure, came in 2023. So there's.
Do you remember The Velveteen Rabbit?
I do. That's one of the kind of books I don't read
Yeah.
because it's
It
sad.
is.
And if
Yeah.
there's books about animals or
Mhm.
stuffed animals and they make
Uh-huh.
you cry, I said from very small, I had to see Dumbo when I was a little
Oh,
kid,
I
and it
hated
traumatized
Dumbo.
me.
I love elephants are my favorite animal by far. I hate that movie. I
Oh,
hate it so much.
it's
There's that one part where he's in front of his mom's prison trailer and she has to reach her trunk out and hold him. It brings me to tears every single time and I don't like it.
I can't.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
No,
That one in Bambi, Old Yeller. There's a number of them that I just can't do.
nope,
But the
nope.
Velveteen Rabbit entered public domain in
Mhm.
2019.
Yep.
That was cool. Oh, and the Tale of Peter Rabbit. Beatrix Potter. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, that one came in. But however, she still owns the company, whatever's still owns the illustrations. So the illustrations are still
Mhm.
copyright, but the stories are not. The stories are public domain. Illustrations, you can't
See,
touch them.
there you go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. It's so interesting
It'll
how
be
it works.
available in 2043 is when those leave the copyright law into the
Mhm.
ocean that is public domain. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
For music, you've got George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, which
Mm-hmm.
I was obsessed with as a young teenager.
Ooh.
Absolutely obsessed
Mm-hmm.
with Rhapsody in Blue. Um, Irving Berlin's Blue
Mm-hmm.
Skies and Gershwin's Someone to Watch Over Me are some of the jazz standards that have gone into the public domain, which are fantastic works. Metropolis, the movie, too, which is amazing. Actually, we were talking about Poirot.
Uh-huh.
The early Poirot novels that were written in pre 1929 are in the public domain
Mm-hmm.
as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
as well as the Father Brown stories, which,
Mm-hmm.
like, they just, I think, rebooted that series
Mm-hmm.
for television. There's a new guy playing Father Brown now, so
Interesting. BBC?
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what production company it is,
Mm-hmm.
but also the book The War of the Worlds and Lovecraft's The Call of Cthulhu. And I'm
Mm.
sorry if I said that wrong. I think the jury is out.
I wonder when the radio show enters public domain. Because remember they had that
Oh yeah.
radio
Oh,
show
The
that went
War of the
on?
Worlds,
Yeah.
the Orson Welles.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
radio. I'm sorry, that's the one of random questions. You
No, but
weren't in my
but
brain.
that's a really good question because those are copyrighted.
Mm-hmm.
It would depend. I imagine. I wonder who owns it.
Mm-hmm. Back to companies.
Yeah,
Back to companies.
that would definitely be whoever owns that catalog that
That's so
of the
interesting.
original radio station. All right, so we're going to now move into what the big meat and potatoes, because if you've stuck with us this long,
Meat and potatoes.
you get to this is your bonus, is to actually get what we're actually here to talk about, which is what will be entering the public domain in 2026. Amazing things.
Mm-hmm. Are you a Bogey fan?
I love Bogey. Are you kidding?
Well,
I mean, you watch those film noir movies. He's an amazing actor.
Oh, I love him.
His persona is what
Mm-hmm.
gets a lot of the attention, but actually he's
in the good Sabrina. You've seen the old Sabrina with
I love Bill Holden so much.
I want to say Audrey Hepburn.
Yeah,
I believe was the old one. Yeah, that's the best
and Bill
one.
Holden. I love Bill Holden.
And I appreciate the remake and everything with Harrison Ford, but it's just got nothing compared to the. And honestly, remakes as a whole, I cannot handle because I've been there, I've done that. I know how this ends. I know spoilers. I know all this. I don't need to sit here and watch it again.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of reboots, even old reboots. There's a movie with Barbara Stanwyck and Gary Cooper that's one of my favorites, and I can't think of the name of it now. They did a reboot years later. It's still an old movie. It went from black and white to color, and I hate that reboot so much.
But I think the reason they do,
I think it's called Ball of Fire, the movie. It's about a burlesque performer that winds up having to take refuge in a academics like university housing of all these like academics talking, they're linguists breaking down language, and she teaches them slang. Her mafia boyfriend is being chased by the FBI or somebody.
It sounds amazing.
and it's so good. And she winds up hiding out in their house, and they're just like, oh my God, a girl. And they're like,
Sorry, that was loud.
she falls in love with Gary Cooper,
Uh-huh.
mostly because he's just so like on spectrumy,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, that's adorable,
Uh-huh. Because it is.
because it is.
Uh-huh.
And it's just such a good movie. And then they remade it. I don't even know who's
Mhm.
in the other one,
Yeah.
and I'm just like,
You know, I get the feeling they do the remakes to kind of cast another net to see if they can get the new generation interested in the same story.
well, they know that the formula works.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's all about the money.
well, that's what it's about. It's about
Mhm.
bottom line. Will we be able to recoup the production costs?
Yeah.
So that if they know that a story has been profitable in the past,
Mm-hmm.
unless something drastic has happened, there's very little reason to think that that tested idea will do poorly in the future.
See, I look at it as if you've ever been poor and you run out of shampoo and you are poor. And so I've been there so many times. Oh my gosh,
God,
going
yes.
through college, I did this so much. You'd take the empty bottle and you'd fill it up with water and you give it a shake and you try to get a few more uses out of that.
Oh yeah.
Now, if you remember what the actual shampoo felt like, using water shampoo doesn't feel that good. However,
It's not the same.
if you never experienced the original shampoo and the only one you got was the watered down shampoo, then it's pretty darn amazing. You
Perfect
know?
analogy.
Right?
Perfect analogy.
I'm like, you ever been poor?
It's the perfect analogy though, because it is. You know, they're taking something that originally was, you know, full of creativity, full of life, robust, had all that energy,
Mm-hmm.
and they're essentially watering it down just to get more out of it.
Yeah,
Just to
yeah,
get more out of the idea. We
exactly.
could get more out of this.
You know,
When the
it's-
ball's halfway down, just stick some more water.
Right.
Quarter of the way down, get more water.
Uh-huh.
A little bit, put more water.
Yeah, it'll be great.
It's
Fine, it'll be
worse
great.
every time.
Back to our original point.
Yeah, back to.
So Humphrey Bogart, he played in a movie. The movie hasn't. The Maltese Falcon. The movie is not entering the public domain, but the story itself is.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is Agatha Christie's Murder at the Vicarage. That was actually her first full-length Ms. Marple.
Ms. Marple.
Another thing, As I Lay Dying, is a work by William Faulkner, which is considered a modernist masterpiece. And that means that adaptations will be able to be created without any licensing whatsoever.
He's
They
a
could
lovely
just,
poet.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. He's had so many works that are just studied and they're beautiful. They're beautiful works of poetry.
And P.G. Woodhouse, very good Jeeves, is also going in. It's a short story collection of Jeeves and Wooster stories, which if you know, you know. And so, like, if you want to do rewrites, TikTok, skits, dramatizations of the actual short stories, you don't have to worry about violating copyright or
You don't have to make a run that makes it sound like this. You don't have to. No.
You don't. Unless, like, just the distinction being, don't take any adaptations that were done starring Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie and think you can just put them on a channel and be okay, because those works are protected by the copyright of the production company. Those are not included in.
So sticky.
Yeah, those are not included in the public domain release.
Sticky.
So, yes.
Now I'm excited.
Langston Hughes' Not Without Laughter is included. That was the that's really important for Black American literature. Especially having those works entering the public domain is hugely important for inspiration and for people to be able to use and access those for their own artworks.
Now we're getting into movies. All Quiet on the Western Front, created in 1930. That will be entering the public domain.
Yes,
that's I got to watch that in school because we read All Quiet, and I actually enjoyed that one. We read All Quiet on the Western Front, and then the teacher showed this old movie about it, and it was actually really good.
And now schools won't have to get licenses for that. They'll be able to put it in and show their students for free, which is amazing. And that did win the Academy Award for Best Picture.
That's great.
The year that it was released. Animal Crackers, which is an incredible Marx Brothers movie. So all those gags that are included, all that will all be accessible to use. Hell's Angels, Howard Hughes pick. is
Aw.
available. The Big Trail, which was
Mhm.
John Wayne's
John
breakout.
Wayne, yeah.
And Marlena Dietrich's classic, The Blue
Oh,
Angel.
yeah, 1930. Gosh, I forget. That's almost 100 years
Yeah.
ago. That just trips me out. Are we this old, Tracy?
Yes. Yes.
This isn't fair. Oh, and then we've got music entering the public domain. A lot of jazz
Yeah.
coming through. That's
Well, because
great.
it was so much of it was being produced in that time. It
That's
was the
fair.
primary pop music of the
Uh-huh.
time. So
It was. Oh gosh, Body and Soul, written by Johnny Green, is going to come into the public domain.
And Georgia on My Mind, which you may know,
Mhm.
the Ray Charles did an incredible cover of that,
Mhm.
seminal cover of that. But again, not the Ray Charles recording.
Nope.
This is actually the sheet music, which
Mhm.
was written by Hoagie Carmichael with the lyrics by Stuart Gurrell. So if you're looking to do a cover of the song for social media or performance, you can do that without having to
Mhm.
pay for a performance license, or you could just go ahead and do that for
Mhm.
free after January 1st.
Yeah, wait. Mhm.
Yeah. And as far as film musicals go,
Mhm.
the songs written for film musicals, the songs specifically written for film musicals that were released in 1930 are all public domain. So all the music in the movie Animal Crackers, which was written for that movie, is public domain and is
Ooh,
available to use. But
that's neat.
not the recordings. It's the compositions that have entered the public domain. The recordings have not.
Oh.
Again, this is all about nuance and subtlety. And this is why, if you're planning on using anything, certainly don't take us as like legal advice.
Oh, please don't.
None
No.
of this is legal advice.
Mhm.
All of this is just like, we're just chatting. But make sure that you check the Library of Congress and other resources to make sure that the things that you're using are free to use, or that you get the appropriate licenses to be able to use the things you want to use in a legal way.
Oh yeah, you don't want to find yourself in a sticky wicket because you're like, the library people on the podcast said I could do this. We're not lawyers.
Yeah, no.
Tracy seems like she could be a lawyer, but we are not lawyers.
No.
It was a compliment.
I appreciate it. It's just, it seems is the key word, I think.
And that brings us to the end of our Public Domain Day celebration. It's amazing how many incredible works are about to become free for everyone to read, share, adapt, and rediscover.
From the Maltese Falcon to As I Lay Dying to jazz standards like Body and Soul, 1930 brought us so many cultural touchstones. And now, as of January 1st, they belong to all of us. That's the magic of the public domain.
As we wrap up this episode and the year, we want to wish all of our listeners a warm, peaceful holiday season. Whether you're staying cozy with a stack of books or just finding a quiet moment to breathe, we hope it brings you comfort and joy.
And as we turn the page into a new year, we hope you get a chance to explore some of these newly freed works. Public Domain Day is a perfect reminder that stories live on, evolve, and keep inspiring us in new ways.
Thank you for spending part of your December with us. We'll be back in January with our big winter reading episode, the perfect way to start your 2026 reading year.
Until then, happy holidays, happy Public Domain Day,
and keep reading, Butte County. Bye.